People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning in. Now, it's it's not bank holiday anymore, but the last couple, yesterday was bank holiday, Monday's been carnival weekend, so I know this video is a bit delayed, but I was at carnival. I'm actually still feeling the effects physically and mentally from carnival, so bear with me if I'm not as sharp as I normally am, but we got the first big game out of the way in terms of playing a top 6 rival. Now, on one hand, I wouldn't say fans would agree of necessarily being optimistic to play Liverpool. I'm not saying that you can't be optimistic playing them, but I'm sure fans were just optimistic about Arsenal in general with the transfer market and what we've been doing as a club. Brought back down to reality against Liverpool, I feel, because for several reasons really. We got to see game management from the players, how they first and foremost react to the crowd. We know what we're going to get with Anfield. They're going to be buzzing. They're going to be feeding off the energy of Liverpool Football Club because they've been in a good shape over the last couple of years, more so last season. They've got some good players and obviously they're feeding off that and their backs are going to be against the wall. So game management in regards to... I actually feel we did alright for the first 10. Well, first 10 we had to weather the storm. I feel it was all Liverpool the whole game. But the first 10 minutes in that game, it was really all Liverpool. Then after that, there was like a 5-10 minute passage where I think it was around the time I've spoken about already, where Adrian kind of made that mistake and we had possession and I wouldn't say we was threatening Liverpool, but there was something there. I do think the second half just went down the pan in my opinion. But the first half, whether I agree with the game plan or not, it looked like Emre and the players, they were working on something all week in terms of shape and trying to do it on against Liverpool. So in terms of having a plan to go against teams, I like that we're trying to improve that sort of thing, and that's typically not how we're going to set up this season. That's going to be most teams against us, but we're considering the opposition. So if we're working in the week and we're trying to get these principles in, it's still early in season. Personally, I like that, people. I do think we needed to find better balance because I have no problem with how we went about the first half in terms of the tactics. I just feel we could have... I like that we're thinking about the opposition, but I feel at the same time, regardless of the opposition, you've got to remember what you can do in your players. Obviously, many will point to Lacazette starting and other tactical tweaks and stuff. Potentially, that's the only big one. And I don't necessarily have a problem with how we set up. Potentially, going back to the players for me, people, they could have been a bit braver in that. I did think... because of how we set up as well, we're obviously considering how Liverpool are as a football club and we're trying to sit back against them and see how the game goes and really not trying to damage limitations sort of thing. But I did think the players could have looked at themselves man to a man, the 11 starting on the field and think, listen here, we know it's Liverpool, but we need to have more of a goal here. We need to be brave. I'm not saying any players cowered away. I just felt we could have been braver in what we're doing and stop really... I felt we over-respected Liverpool personally, people. Again, how many times have I said since this video's begun, you need to remember the threat that their front three in particular, obviously their fullbacks and just Liverpool as a whole, come with as a football club. But you've also got to remember we've got Aubameyang, who I love Aubameyang, but it's another game, not criticising him, but it's another game against the top 6 where I haven't really seen anything. And he was on all the Instagram live saying we want revenge. I personally feel because of how we set up, we're not going to try, not that we're not going to try, but we're not going to have the majority of the ball. So by that, our striker is going to be out the game. And as much as I love Aubameyang, he's not Lacazette in that. He's not as cute coming to shore and all of these things. You know what Aubameyang's about. We don't do it enough, but balls in behind and just goals. So he's going to be out of the game. But I did feel we could have thought, listen, we've got Aubameyang, we've got Ceballos here, we've got Pepe, who's actually looked dangerous on the right hand side. I wasn't even planning on touching on him, but let me put Pepe here, people. Pepe looked like an outlet, and I think Pepe, obviously he missed that chance and his decision making at times isn't perfect, but he's only 24. Because of his price tag, he's sadly not going to get no time. He's not the finished article. He is going to frustrate us, but for me he looks exciting. The one thing I love about him is, like I just said, he's frustrating, but he didn't cower away. When the dribbles, more for me anyways, I'm a bit biased, but the dribbles were working anytime he was trying for me, and it clearly not to the point of getting victory, but they were working for me. But I like how when it wasn't working, he was still trying. Now obviously you have to mix up your game and recognise certain things, but many players try 1-2 things, the crowd gets onto them, they see it hasn't worked, they hear moans and groans and they cower away. The first step to being a top player is that, people trying things, being brave and things, because I'm going a bit too deep, but you look at Messi and Ronaldo, before you talk about their technical ability, they've got courage. You need bravado. You need bravado to be in a big semi-finals in the Champions League like Messi has. apologies people, I don't know what that was. Black Messi has get the ball from deep and drive forward and dance past players. You need courage like Ronaldo. To the best example for me, probably I won't say the best Ronaldo goal I've seen, but for me I think it's the best one. When he was playing for United, was it Porto? He scored from 30, 40 yards. He had no right shooting from there. You look like an idiot if you missed that. And obviously it's Ronaldo, and he still is a top player, but he was really, really sick in my opinion them times there. He doesn't need to explain it to people, but you need courage. Joe Willock, shout out to Joe Willock, because I think he had a good game. I think him and Pepe are the first team names on the team sheet going into Spurs. We'll talk about that another day. So obviously game management, recognising we can do things a bit differently, be a bit braver, tweaking things. I do feel Emre set up the team good, but from what we've seen, how he's normally been quick to change things up people quickly, I don't feel it's me in it. Obviously he's Emre, he knows his stuff more than me, but for me I was looking at it like, Emre, you're normally the guy here for this. Why is it taking so long to bring on Lacazette and make these changes? Also, obviously, he's working with the players, and Torreira should have started for me, but he might be carrying a knock and all of these sort of things. I don't really buy the fitness thing unless it's a knock. I think it's more mental fatigue more than physical, because you've got to deep it. Yes, last season took a lot out of him, people. First time in his career he's played 50 plus times. Torreira said it himself. But think about it, people. Like I said, if it's an injury or mental fatigue, it's a different thing. But if it's physical fitness, surely he's played 50 plus times. He went off to Copa America. Yes, he's had 1-2 weeks off. He might be a bit rusty. But are you really lacking match fitness, people? And if you're on the bench, I get it. You don't necessarily have to play 90 minutes. But if you're on the bench, surely you can play a significant moment. So could it have been a Torreira starting potentially and then you take him off? Which is also not necessarily the best thing, but do you get it? Also, by my own logic as well, in terms of we could have been a bit braver, I said in one of my post-game videos, as much as I felt we could have done that, Emre was damned if you do, damned if you don't, because I did think we could have been a bit braver in how we set up offensively. But if we went there, typically our Arsenal teams have done, not just at Anfield, but all over the place, try and do this, we'll match you sort of thing, and then we're still a bit naive defensively, and you lot typically seen how that story goes, people. So he's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But looking at the game, I feel the players really, it's mainly, I feel the tactics didn't help them necessarily past the first half, but I feel it's mainly the players. I'm not going to name drop players. Well, I am. I don't think it's solely on David Luiz. His mistakes made the difference in the game, but I don't feel any 11 players, if you can all come off that field, or Joe and Pepe to a certain degree, I don't feel any of our players can really leave Anfield saying they had the best of games. I'm not saying anyone played poor. I don't feel people were poor, but I don't feel it was one of them sort of things, people. Do you get what I'm saying? But we learned a lot. I must admit, people, moving to the tactics board, I know we were playing in this kit and Liverpool were playing in the red one at their place, but we're switching roles. We're going to go red, they're blue. Admittedly, people, it did appear that our formation switched into a 4-4-2 of sorts. That's what I was seeing anyways, people. If I just tweak this a tad, it's like you had Aubameyang, you had Pepe, and then you had the rest of them doing that. But what I thought I saw... Oh, apologies, people. You know, we've got another one here. That's Liverpool's front three, in case you didn't know. Is this, people. You obviously had Aubameyang. You had Pepe of sorts. He might have been a bit right or whatnot, but it's not to scale. So you had them. You obviously had Ceballos. Ceballos was obviously dropping into this position, and at times 4-4-2, I was seeing a midfielder come out here, and I thought we did alright down this side in hindsight, really. If I had to really look at an area, just in terms of midfield pressing and whatnot. You obviously had Ceballos, you had Xhaka and Guendouzi. You had Xhaka. You had Joe and Guendouzi. Again, not to scale, just to paint the picture. I like the angle. I like that we're trying to come with a different sort of thing. But the first problem potentially is the fullbacks. Now, the fullbacks were always going to be busy. The fullbacks were always going to be busy from both teams. Because like you saw, Liverpool from the get-go were putting in crosses. And I feel, again, not to scale, but let's just assume Xhaka sat in front with the defenders now, because we're defending. And let's bring Liverpool's midfielders forward just to paint a bit of a picture. Let's just say we're defending from this scenario, people. I did feel when Liverpool's wide men put crosses into our box, people, I did feel I'm sweating. I did feel we did okay in the first half. It was shaky. It wasn't entirely convincing, but I felt it was a thing where Emre conceded, okay, do you know what? We're going to lose the battle on the flanks, but we're going to try and stay compact sort of thing. You lot can cross as many balls as you want into this box and we'll be equal to it sort of thing. And I think it was working. That, like I said, Liverpool, it was all in there. We were all in there. They were all in our half, sorry. I mean, we were all, yeah. The whole game in the first half, more or less, was in their half. You saw how high their fullbacks were. We knew what game it was going to be because of where the two clubs are at, because of where Anfield is, well, Liverpool's home pitch, because of several factors. We knew the game we was going into. So I think we did all right. And the fact that it took a set piece, ironically, from Trent. Obviously, we can nitpick and whatnot, but it happens. It was a good header from Matip. Certain players were too busy with Van Dijk. They went 1-0 ahead, people, and I think we did all right. I think if Klopp is hypercritical of his team, just looking at Liverpool, I don't think he'll be entirely happy with that result. I don't think he'll be entirely. I'm not saying he's going to be mad, but I don't think he'll be entirely happy with the delivery, especially in the first half from Trent and Robertson. I don't feel their crossing was as good as we've seen, and I don't feel, yeah, man. I think that, and obviously the clean sheet, but I think that's what we was doing, and all of them sort of things there, people. But if I move a couple people back into position, apologies. If I just move some people, I don't feel I think obviously, people, if we did set up like this, Xhaka's still in the back five of sorts, that would be. I feel if you've got to play in this position, and again, I'm not criticising them because of the game it is, but if we're going to play this formation, sorry people, the obvious thing is this: first and foremost, helping out from widers. And I actually feel the midfielders, not really Xhaka, but the two young boys in Guendouzi and Joe, I think they did all right helping out on the flanks. But if you're going to play this, people, what do you see? You see no wingers. Obviously, Pepe was out here doing what he was doing, and I think Pepe did all right tracking back. But the fullbacks, if a formation is like this, even if Ceballos drops and Pepe goes out wide into positions, they will take up in what you'd call real time, because Pepe wants to get the ball drive at man. Ceballos wants to come deep and receive it and do what he needs to do. And Xhaka was more likely here. I feel in real time, if that happens, people, yeah, and you've got Aubameyang up here ready, what do you need, people? You need your fullbacks to go forward. And I'm not saying they didn't, because their heat maps will show it. And they did at times. I think Maitland-Niles put a good ball in. I don't feel our fullbacks, again, people running off. I don't feel our fullbacks helped us out in the best case scenario there, people. I don't feel we was really helped out really at all by the fullbacks. I won't say that's a key reason as to why we lost, but it kind of was. And then obviously, do you know what? We spoke about the first one, but the goals were just small individual errors, people, really and truly. If we just move, because really everybody's irrelevant, and this isn't to scale again. And again, because of the format, I'm going to highlight David Luiz. Apologies, people. I need to wipe my face, man. It's boiling. Son of beat. Apologies, people. It's boiling, but I still got to give you this vid. Disregard everything now, yeah? Now, I'm not going to be harsh on David Luiz. And actually, Monreal was probably up here because he was out of shot again. I don't know where he was to scale, but let's just say he's there, yeah? Let's just say, you know what? Let's make this pretty. Let's just say plays going on. Let's just say plays going on. Plays going on, just a random thing. Plays just going on, people. Yeah, let's just say this. Yeah. Salah didn't receive the ball on the halfway line. He received the ball at a decent position, yeah. Now, David Luiz, the penalty incident is the penalty incident. I'm not going to harp on about it. You all watch football. We all know them sort of things. You shouldn't be pulling people, especially with VAR. So we don't need to harp on about that. But the goal that Salah scored, now it was a fantastic goal. Salah is a baller. We know this. He's a quality player. Quality player. Nothing short of the word. But we made it easy for him. Now, when he cut in, I'm not going to lie, people. When Luiz was gone and people were tracking back, I felt even these players here, I can't remember who, everyone that was around Salah when he was coming and darting in, people, and then he had the shot, I felt it was too easy from them, people. I really think it was too easy from them. I really think it was too easy from them. Sorry, I used the wrong cone there. I think it was too easy from them. But if we say this is Monreal, my handwriting is poor, but we say that's Monreal there, yeah? This is Salah. And you've got Luiz, I'm not even going to do the letters. Now, Luiz is forced into this wide area, people. It's too easy from Luiz. He sells himself a dream. He's already made up Salah's mind. Salah knows he's going to come diving in of sorts. Salah sold him a dream. Never sold him a dream. Salah's just been an experienced player and he knows what he's going to do. And maybe because of the way the game's going, Luiz is just trying to make a tackle, maybe G everybody up. But this is what you get, decision making. He skips past him. Luiz is in no man's land. He's already vacated this position. Again, like I said, in real time, people were here and at 6s and 7s and Salah got his shot off and whatnot and scored and Liverpool fans went crazy. But if David Luiz, remember that's Monreal, if David Luiz is sucked into this area, people, if David Luiz is sucked into this area by Salah, he's felt himself pulled out. I'm not a fool. I was a fullback in grassroots. What does that tell you? If your centre-back has to come out from his position into these wide areas, what has that told you, people? Potentially, your left-back hasn't done his job because first and foremost, defensive phases is your role. He's not there. Potentially, if he's there, there's extra men. And again, ifs and buts, we can only deal with the facts. There's that. Potentially, again, we could probably watch the goal again, people, and pick up several things. But where the goal developed or whoever gave the ball to Salah, could we have, let's just say it was this centre-half, could we have potentially have closed them down? Could we have potentially have cut the ball out? Could we have potentially made a tactical foul? These are the things Arsenal have got to integrate into their game. When I say dark arts in my videos, that's what I'm getting at, people. It's about being proactive. Liverpool was switched on and proactive and just on top of the golf in where the teams are at now, excluding the front options, because I do think it's an interesting debate between Liverpool and Arsenal fans for that. I'm not going to take a position. We've got to do better. Now, I did say I was going to speak about Pepe, but there's not really, I can't really show it on a board more than you already know. But it was lovely from Pepe. Pepe can be our outball like you saw, man. When he's pulling into these positions, he's just skipping away. And I think he slightly gave Van Dijk some issues as well. Obviously, when we was defending and whatnot in terms of shape, you saw something along the lines of that and Pepe came inside. I think Pepe can be a quality player here. Let's just let him develop and whatnot. I think he could be a quality player for us, man, because he wants to take people on. He's not afraid to try things. He's got good technical football. His link-up plays there. He's obviously skipping past players. He's got good balance. I think his finishing's got to improve. I know he scored mad amounts of goals for Leo and that, but just from seeing him under the eye at my club now, I think he's got that. You don't know I'm a big Raheem Sterling fan, but he's got that Raheem Sterling that it will be kind of factor right now about his shots, people, because he does skip away from players and then there's that. So maybe that's something for him to pick up on, man. Or maybe he's just snatching at chances because he's still integrating to the club. Either way, I think he's a great player. And of course, I'm not comparing him to I'm not comparing him to a Iwobi because Sterling's a quality player and so is a Iwobi, but there's levels to football. So there's nothing else for me to really add on that point, people, man. I'm going to get out of here, man. Like I said, still recovering from Carnival. It's time to sip some water. People, DG, thank you for watching and rocking as usual.